Thank you so much, Kirsten. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Becky Raymond. I'm the Executive Director of the Chicago Citywide Literacy Coalition, and I'm here with Robert Guzman, who is our One-Stop Operator Director. And it's great to see so many familiar names and faces on this presentation, and I'm very excited to share the work that we've been doing at CCLC. Around promoting co-enrollment through communication. Okay. So today we're going to give an introduction to CCLC and talk a bit about our program impact. We're going to talk about the Career Pathways model and how that model has evolved into the coalition playing the role of the one-stop operator for LWIA 7, which is Chicago and Cook County. And then I'm going to turn it over to Robert to talk about findings in the field, early implementation of the OSO work, and WIOA service integration. As Robert mentioned, feel free to put any questions in the chat, and otherwise we have time at the end for questions and answers. So the Chicago Citywide Literacy Coalition is a coalition of adult literacy and adult basic education programs from across Chicago. And we were founded by a grassroots network of practitioners more than 20 years ago. And they ran the coalition on a volunteer basis until I became the first staff person 10 years ago. And my charge has been to reframe adult basic education as a critical public policy issue. And that really encompasses seeing how adult literacy and adult basic education are part of the career pathway framework, creating solutions so that adults with low skills can move into job training and take advantage of other workforce development programs. So just kind of at the bottom here, it talks about our members through the Illinois Digital Learning Lab. We expanded our network of members, and we now have more than 50 across Illinois. So while our roots are in Chicago, through the Illinois Digital Learning Lab over the past several years, we've really learned about other parts of the state and how to create solutions around technology and digital literacy beyond the city and beyond the county. We have monthly partner meetings. We're setting tables all the time on a number of topics. And so that's kind of just some of our history. During the past fiscal year, we've worked with Illinois Digital Learning Lab around promoting North Star digital literacy assessment and working even through the pandemic with practitioners to find ways where learners can achieve basic computing certificates and badges. We've made referrals between adult education and to workforce development. Robert, in his previous role as a Career Pathways Navigator, really engaged the community around how to enter and access the AJCs, which I'll talk about more later. We've worked in health literacy and connected adult learners to healthcare programs, and especially helped low-skilled adults find medical homes through our empowerment-based health literacy program. And we just work with a range of partners in a range of ways. It's like we are like professionally herding the cats of adult education and trying to find meaningful ways to improve programming. Thanks, Robert. And so when WIOA came into play, the adult education providers around the Pilsen, also called the Near West American Job Center in Chicago, sat around the table, and we really were strategizing how these 12 providers could have a meaningful and impactful presence in that center. So I know Chicago is unique. Most AJCs do not have a dozen adult ed providers around them. But in Chicago, there's a lot of need and a lot of unique ways to deliver services. So we came into the situation where these practitioners, they wanted to do more than just deliver flyers. They wanted to do more than just circle through the lobby. They wanted to build a relationship with the AJC staff, and they wanted to have traction. They wanted to see that their adult learners could make it to the AJC, and they wanted to know that individuals who came into the AJC would be referred out to them if they weren't suitable because of low skilled. And so the providers asked the coalition to staff and manage a navigator at the Pilsen AJC. And so in February 2018, we started staffing a navigator. And for us, it was kind of like having that staff person in the Near West AJC opened up so much of possibility. I think when we started the project, we were just really thinking about how can Title I and Title II connect better in this center? And when Robert got there, we saw that there were these other titles, there were all these resources, there were so many things that, at least in my perspective, I didn't fully understand were at the AJC. So if you could go to the next slide, Robert. So this just gives an overview. This is the original center where the Navigator was housed, and these were the adult basic education Title II providers who pooled resources to staff the Navigator at that center. We'd love one day you can come visit us. Maybe some folks from National Able are here. I don't know. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, okay. And this is just giving you a sense of all the different practitioners and titles that are available in the center.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Becky. I just want to, I wanted to just highlight and put the human side to the American Job Center partners. So one of my first tasks as the career navigator, and the first week that I had was to attend my first ever American Job Center meeting. And then there is where I realized that I will not only be housed with Title I, which is the workforce provider at the time was the one-stop operator for the American Job Center, but I was also going to be housed with the Trade Adjustment Act, with representatives of the Division of Rehab, with the representatives of the Department of Human Services, with employment specialists from the Illinois Department of Employment Security, with staff from the Chicago Housing Authority. I mean, we even had paralegals and attorneys on standby in case individuals needed those services. So I really got back, I really got a sense of the community that I was being a part of by being housed there, having a cubicle there. And, and the first day that I went in there, I heard everyone's updates. I heard their services, I heard their programs. And when it came around to me, I said, hi, my name is Robert Guzman. I'm with CCLC. I am the career navigator, and I represent 12 WIOA Title II adult education programs, all within less than 4 miles located of this American Job Center. And they said, welcome. And then there is when I started letting them know like that the services that are provided by adult education, like Becky mentioned, my main goal was to develop relationships with the other titles so we can provide adult ed services to their participants. So I went in there and I said, if any one of your clients needs help with literacy and numeracy to get into that apprenticeship, or to get those TATE test scores a little bit more up to get into that training provider, send them over to me, and I'll make sure that they are transitioned into the adult education program appropriate to their level and to their needs. Then I started getting referrals for GED for individuals that, you know, we're that AJC is located really close to the huge Cook County jail. So there was individuals going in there that were returning citizens that never got a chance to get their GED. So, you know, I'm just kind of sharing some of the stories that they were telling me on the first week that I met them, as well as that they had a lot of individuals filing for unemployment that just wanted to improve their English so then they could get into WIOA. A lot of individuals were interested in digital literacy and just didn't know where to find them. So I almost became like an adult education broker and a WIOA liaison between the American Job Center partners and the adult education providers. One recommendation that all the partners had so they wouldn't drive me crazy and sending me 1,000 referrals was, Robert, you need your own orientation specifically to provide adult education and career pathway services. So with the support of CCLC, we were able to quickly print brochures in English and in Spanish promoting Spanish and English monthly orientations in persons, as well as like drop-in hours for me. I would be in the lobby all the time interacting with all the frontline staff as well as center level staff. I would schedule adult education providers from Malcolm X and Daly and Universidad Popular to come into the lobby. I would communicate with them about certain events and hiring events that they were going on, and they would let the hundreds and thousands of adult ed students know what was going on. So it really, you know, me being the career navigator on behalf of this WIOA Title II adult providers actually established a entry point for any WIOA participant entering the AJC towards adult education. And then that's when my co-enrollment life began. My journey began. At these orientations, I began, having UI claimants referred by IDES, SNAP recipients, TANF recipients, individuals with disabilities from the Division of Rehab, everyone that kind of knew that they needed some type of adult education services or career pathways, they would attend our orientation in either in Spanish. And then from there, I would just, do a pre-assessment and intake of their skills and transition them to the appropriate program. It'd be by zip code, because of level. I mean, I had 12 adult ed providers in the area, that almost a menu. So I wouldn't tell the clients or participants, I have 12 programs you could choose from. I would let them know, what do you need? I almost kind of catered to their needs, and then I provided them options for them, and it was up to them. So it was very participant focused for me. And with this transition to was that, adult ed students started tapping into these services at the American Job Centers because they didn't have a computer at home. So they needed to access the American Job Center to receive assistance in filing a claim or extending their benefits. Or we would let them know that, on Wednesdays, representatives from DHS are there to help them with the SNAP application, Medicaid application, and other substance abuse services. I will let them know that there was Title I and orientations on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I established a foundation of communication between the American Job Center partners and WIOA Title II, and I just maintained it. And then again, another example that co-enrollment is that once I learned that a lot of these adult ed providers also receive Title I services, and a lot of our partners also not only had Title I, but they also had other grants, other certification programs, through different grants. So it almost became as I became assisting individuals on selecting their career pathway, depending if they were eligible or not for WIOA. Because if they were not, we would have options. If they had a background or a misdemeanor or an arrest, I would refer them to the Safer Foundation that have intensive case managers. So I became very familiar with the frontline staff, the programs, anything that surrounded the American Job Center that had to deal with career pathways. I had met with them. But this started off by me introducing myself to the Surf Foundation staff, to the Easter Seal staff that run the CSEP program with the National ABLE Network folks. So I strengthened on my relationship with the frontline staff, and to build trust. After we built trust, it was like, they would send a referral. I would send a referral for workforce for an event, and we knew we were taking care of our participants because we all had the same participant. And during the pandemic, some of these COVID-19 resources came up, and even before the pandemic, where A Safe Haven was housing individuals that were homeless and COVID-19 positive. So we were able to get some of these other resources to fill the gaps that our other partners might have. And then we still continue our work up to today. We were able to move our virtual career pathways orientations in English and Spanish virtual, as well as open up office hours. So individuals, Monday through Friday can just pick up the phone and call a navigator and let them know their situation, or view refer an individual. There's that communication again between partners. So we were never able to lose a beat. And just some quick numbers that during FY19 and FY19, 273 WIOA participants from the Near West AJC were transitioned into adult ed services, and for in FY20, 242 participants were connected to adult ed transitions. And then, after a couple years of implementing the Career Navigator at the Near West AJC, we were able to duplicate the model at another American Job Center at Mid-South, with serving that area and providing adult ed services and career pathway services to that area. And we were recognized by the National Skills Coalition. We received the Firebrand Award for our work in WIOA integration and in Chicago. So that actually set us up and established the foundation for us to step into the one-stop operator role. So I'm going to go ahead and transition it to Becky on this next slide.
Okay, thanks, Robert. So in the fall of 2019, the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership Board made the decision to reimagine how one-stop operator functions would be delivered in Cook County. And I do see Marissa and Kit here from the partnership, and they are our main contacts on this work. So maybe they'll be chiming in during the Q&A session at the end. But I think the partnership board decided that by pulling the one-stop operator functions out, that a neutral third-party entity could kind of have a different viewpoint of how to implement one-stop operator, that we could focus in on how the partners are working together, giving them resources so that they are focused on collaboration. And so we received the award starting in October 2020, right in the midst of the pandemic. And we were really excited to kind of build off of the Navigator work at the 10 centers. So in Cook County, LWIA 7, there are 10 centers, 5 in the city and 5 in the suburbs, and 4 of them are comprehensive. And so we hired a whole team, and Robert became the director, and we have a team of 4 now that are scheduling and hosting and putting agendas together monthly at each of these centers. And they are also distributing newsletters of resources at each center. So since we've been in this role, we've first and foremost, establish these regular touch points of the meetings. And it's been really important because it gives partners to a way to connect on a regular basis. And actually, our issue is more that like partners beyond the core and required, listed partners want to join the meetings because they know there are so many resources available at the AJC. And so the team is really trying to make sure that the AJCs are very well known, whether it's, faith-based organizations, housing, just different entities that really could benefit from knowing about the services at the AJC and maybe weren't aware and weren't attending the monthly partners before. So I'm really excited about this foundational work that the team has done. I don't know, Robert, if you want me to take the next slide. Oh, okay. There's a poll next. Okay. So what one-stop operator model is used in your local workforce area?
Okay. Yeah, is it a single entity public? Is it a single entity private? Is it a single entity non-for-profit? Is it a consortium of WIOA partners? Oh, or you don't know?
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how different locations are implementing the model across the country, and there's a wide variety. And I mean, we're learning things all the time. Robert and I spoke with San Diego yesterday and learned about their model of implementation and how they're rethinking their one-stop operator RFP. So I think as the years go on and, WIOA continues to develop, I just see that a lot of LWIBs are thinking out of the box in terms of how one-stop operations can be implemented.
Okay. I think we're stuck at like 55%. Do you think? Yeah, I think, yeah. All right.
Okay.
So okay, so it's the consortium, right?
Consortium.
A
Oh, that's
consortium of
interesting.
WIOA partners. Okay, that's very interesting. So
And some don't know. So maybe that would be something to find out after this presentation. Who's doing the one-stop function in your area?
okay, all right. So let me just tell you a little bit more about the vision of the one-stop operator system. It should connect customers, so it's job seekers and employers, with a full range of services available in communities. The system should align workforce development and education and economic development programs with regional economic development strategies to meet the needs of local and regional employers. So, in that said, I just would like to take this opportunity to provide you with a brief overview on why we're here and what we're doing. So our main role as the one-stop operator is to coordinate service delivery of required one-stop partners and service providers and focus on these four primary objectives you see here. We continue working as a neutral entity to identify and create systems to support one-stop partners in achieving the goals of excellent customer service, innovative service design, integrated management systems, and high quality staffing. So it's been an honor working closely with all the WIOA partners across AJC network in Cook County WIA 7. To shout out to all of you. And we have a high level of engagement and commitment, and we have an incredible collaboration spirit to integrate services on behalf of our participants. So with their passion, dedication, and collaboration, we are achieving these goals. So shout out to the WIA 7 for all your support in our new role. So these are the 10 AJCs that are collaborating with CCLC with implementing this new stop operator model. 5 of them are located in South Suburban Cook County, and 5 are located in the city. Some are located on community college campuses. Some are in city-owned buildings. And yeah, Becky, did you want to add something?
No, that's
Oh, okay. All right. And then, so in order for us to get to where we are at today and entering May, back in November, we started a listening and learning tour. When I was a navigator, the first thing I did was visit all 12 of the WIOA training providers. I met with the adult ed students. I surveyed them. I asked them questions about what they thought, about the services. So it only felt natural to meet with all the 10 directors of workforce one-on-one. We also conducted a survey that we'll discuss, where we sent it out to over 400 WIOA community staff, from frontline to center level, to higher management to leadership. So actually, let me go to the next slide. And then that's how we were able to kind of kick off what we are now implementing. We went around and we listened to all the WIOA core partners, all the titles. We met with focus groups. So this one-stop operator inventory and assessment phase was from November 2020 to about February 2021. It consisted of a listening and learning tour, like I said, where we met with all the WIOA core partners. So shout out to DHS and IDS and the Division of Rehab and the 10 directors of workforce for sitting down with us and really letting us know what their participants need. We also met with some of the WIP members and some of the service delivery committee members, and we were able to get some input from them and ideas and their vision for the one-stop operator model in the American Job Centers. So that was very interesting. We did receive 151 total responses from across all the titles. 43% of them were case managers, so we got a lot of that frontline kind of information. 34% were program managers or supervisors, and 23% were support staff. So we also did an orientation observation. So we had the one-stop team, attend all the workshops and WIOA orientations, to identify best practices and procedures. And as you can see, in our 151 total responses, we pulled some of the quotes that our partners had put as comments, such as, help make some processes similar through all partners to help things run smoother. So, really implementing unified processes across all AJCs. Our participants are people, not numbers. They have real life issues and needs that are time consuming. So if any one of these quotes resonates with you, please just put it in the chat. And then if you have any questions, we could go ahead and answer them at the end. Is this something will make our job easier? Is this just going to be another meeting on our agenda? So the one-stop team heard that, and we prep for every American Job Center meeting to give you high quality meetings. I mean, if you ever want to be a shadow, just email me and I'll make sure that you can see and you can live the WIOA culture shift that we have an honor to coordinate 10 times a month. So, oh, Bevan, I'm choking up. I'm passionate. So that said, a lot of the partners, they said, make it an actual one stop. And I give people the runaround. Feels more like a 3 to 5 stop. We have to remember that we were taking this inventory and assessment survey during a pandemic. So a lot of partners, kind of disconnected, and, a lot of new staff. I remember one stat that I remember that was, we asked everyone, what were your office hours before the pandemic? And what are your office hours during the pandemic now? And, almost half saying I'm new. I'm a new staff member. So we have a lot of new staff that are joining the American Job Center network. Becky, do you have anything to say about this great inventory and assessment effort and what we learned?
Yeah, no, I think just, Robert described like the 10 centers, and they're, some are at community colleges, some are, DHS, IDS office. I mean, there's just a range of centers. And so our charge to kind of aggregate up what's happening across the centers, listen across the centers, have an equity lens as we approach our work. It's a lot, and it's very exciting. And I think that the staff did a very thorough job in, attending the orientations and really listening and, learning from the survey results. So I just really thank everyone who responded or took the time to talk to Robert and his team, and just really appreciate everybody's input in this process. And yeah.
Yeah, and one thing was that this was a great communications foundation that we did, because we introduced ourselves as the one-stop operator. We introduced our staff. We met with their staffs. A shout out to all the WIOA partner center level managers that said, "Hey, do you mind bringing in your team to meet with my team?" Yes, we love to meet with the Housing Authority of Cook County and the Chicago Housing Authority and all the deans of city colleges. Yes, we love that. So thank you so much for everyone that opened their doors actually. And what came out of this inventory and assessment phase is that we figured out that the one-stop team will be the glue, or the cement between the bricks for all the AJC partners 10 times across Cook County. And we accepted that challenge, and we welcomed it. And and actually with the collaboration of all the workforce directors and the region managers. So shout out to all the WIA 7 region managers from the Chicago Cook Workforce Partners, just to the WIB, to the service delivery, to all the other titles, to CCEP, for identifying an individual to represent them at that particular American Job Center 10 times. So send a shout out to Sherry Sparks and her team, and Tina and everyone that said, "Hey, this is very, very important. If you can't make it to the meeting, we're going to find an alternative. We're going to make sure that we are there on behalf of our participants." That's all that is that the one-stop team is the glue that it keeps the service integration among partners. But then the partners are there on advocating on behalf of the participants. So this is awesome. I think that's where that passionate engagement comes from. And during this whole time, we transitioned and been facilitating 10 American Job Center meetings a month since December. At these meetings, we have, like Becky mentioned, we have our core partners, we have our required partners, but now to fill in the gaps, our own WIOA partners are bringing community-based organizations. They're emailing me, CCing me, "Hey, Robert, this is a legal department. This is an immigration department. They can help us with DACA recipients. During the tax season, we're trying to identify, those services. They're bringing in, hey, I found who the career technical education staff member is. There's a new person at the Division of Rehab, I just talked to. I'm going to bring." So it's like an all effort, engagement. It's like almost we keep each other accountable, and like who wasn't here, who wasn't there, because we need that information for other partners. We need to know the SNAP Online program is active. We need to know that a UI claims fraud is up and what to do. We need to know how Title I is registering during this virtual fair. So it's a hub of WIOA partners and resources. And so these are some of the meetings. I wanted to share the first thing that we did as the one-stop operator team was implement a centralized email. So this became almost the communication headquarters for WIA 7 American Job Center Network. So all partners, all frontline staff, they receive their meeting invites, Zoom invites from here. They dump us with flyers and resources and events, and then we go ahead and, like Becky mentioned, we go ahead and then attach them to the appropriate American Job Center newsletter, and then we send out those newsletters. And then prior to every meeting, a couple of days before, we send out the agenda with the Zoom invite. We encourage partners to send their resources ahead of time, where then we compose a customized PowerPoint for each individual AJC. So every partner has a slide. So when their slide comes up, they provide their update. So we almost really brought that neutral entity to like all partners are equal. And it's been very well welcomed. It's also our suggestion box. We get so many thank yous. We get so many requests. We get CC'd on all the co-enrollment that's going on. And we're not even in the conversation, but they just want to know that Malcolm X and Westside AJC are talking about a dual orientation. You know, they want us to let us know that Legal Aid Chicago is collaborating with one of the AJCs to do an expungement event. You know, we currently one of our AJCs is currently having a collaborative job fair by themselves. So us as the facilitator, we're just coordinating that. So our one-stop email kind of really centralized the communications. A partner might have a flyer of an event coming up, and we make sure that it's distributed throughout the AJCs in a timely manner. Almost 24 hours later after the AJC meeting, the newsletter gets sent out because some of this is time sensitive. You know, the WIOA Summit registration was on there, so we had to make sure it was on there. So that said, that was one of our first wins. One of our second implementation was just a dashboard. We created a dashboard for each American Job Center to be transparent. That's one thing that we have been doing is at every American Job Center, we share our project timeline and let them know this is what the one-stop operator is up to. We are currently assisting with the comprehensive certification of 4. You know, we are currently involved in the AJC inventory and assessment phase. And here, this is something that we collect as the one-stop operator team. If you see the monthly partner meeting attendance in December was 11, and then when it skyrocketed after just 1 month of working with all the partners to 19, and even during the winter days and no one having internet, it still stayed at 19 and then jumped to 20. And then, you know, this last meeting, we were at 15 because it was RFP, MOU, I mean, audit season. So we understood, but partners still found an alternative to get those resources to the table and receive resources. So as you can see, the engagement, we're almost at 93%. Like Becky said, we're bringing in other partners, community-based organizations that are not funded by WIOA or might be a local delegate agency that can assist us in finding some gaps across 10 AJCs. So, and the resource newsletter, those have doubled. So, you know, we use Constant Contact to send out the new resource newsletter, and people are opening it, they're finding it. They all have high quality PDFs. So this is just a dashboard. We're actually creating a dashboard for our partners moving forward. They're going to start, you know, letting us know, you know, how many people attended the WIOA orientations, how many people got enrolled in GED, you know, how many individuals. So we're really at the beginning of the implementation phase, but we're running. You know, we're running because we have the support and of all our partners. And yeah, so let me see what's next. Here it is. So I want you to take the moment at this time, grab your cell phone, take a picture and scan the QR code, which works. And you would receive on your phone the actual Mid-South American Job Center newsletter from the meeting from Friday. So this meeting just happened at Friday at 1 o'clock, ended at like 3 o'clock because everyone stays for networking. So that was one of the things that we found out that, you know, is it enough time for us to provide updates for the one-stop team to let them know what we're doing? No. So we created a networking right after the AJC monthly partner meeting that just opens up a whole other dialogue of collaboration. All we did was create a space for them after the meeting so then they could just go ahead and ask each other questions. So hopefully you were able to scan the newsletter and you see the quality. So we have 10 of these American Job Center meetings going out 24 to 48 hours after every meeting. So shout out to the One Stop team for always finding solutions with technology. And then this is where we are now. We are in the project team meeting implementation phase. Just as an example, we have certain unified deliverables that we are going to be working on in the next couple of months. In March, we actually went around to all the American Job Center meetings and asked for volunteers for our working groups. Said, hey, if you're interested in creating a unified referral system, or a cross training, or a customer satisfaction survey, or a unified orientation, which was our first project. We just a couple of weeks ago, we just met. So how it worked is that we went to the 10 American Job Center meetings. We asked for volunteers to be part of our working group so we can compose together a WIOA orientation, not even a WIOA orientation, because the first meeting we had representatives from all the titles, and the first thing they voted on as a group was to not call them a WIOA orientations. They said they want to be called American Job Center orientations. Crazy. So they, we stepped back and they began talking of why and the feedback. So we are currently right now drafting a unified orientation in collaboration with all the partners across OWIA 7. And we're going to take the same framework when we start creating a customer satisfaction survey. When we begin into cross training, we're going to go ahead. We're asking them for ideas. We actually polled them during the AJC meeting, and they said that they love providing their updates, that they love the meetings, and they don't want to mess with the meetings. So we could instead implement some type of like cross-training webinars in between meetings, which is great. So this is awesome. This is what communication is about. Becky, I'm going to stop right there in case you want to add something on our timeline.
No, I think I'll just, reiterate what you're saying, and that, the vision for the monthly partner meetings is not just to share out resources. I mean, we hear from our partners how valuable it is for them to have the opportunity to share their resources at the center among the other titles. And we also want them to come together and help us co-design projects. So the first project is a unified orientation. From there, we'll be talking about cross training, and then we'll be talking about the customer satisfaction survey. And, one of the centers, the Arlington Wheeling now Center, Business and Career Services, is going through an in-depth human-centered design process right now. And so we are learning a lot from them. Stacy Kragel on our team is participating in that work. And so we're trying to bring a human-centered design, an equity lens, and a collaborative spirit to all of these projects. So stay tuned for some of the products that we're excited to develop that are in development now. And that, like I said, we really want to co-design and find something that can meet all the partners' needs as best as possible. So
yeah, so if you have any comments, feedback, questions, please I'll put it in the chat. And this takes us to our next poll. Have you attended a cross-training session at your one-stop during the pandemic, maybe before? If you want to put in the chat, what kind of cross-training? Was it a 1-day, 7-hour training, or was it a webinar style? Was it throughout a couple of days? And who was part of the cross-training? Was it all the core partners? Was it just the required partners? All right, a lot of people are voting. I'll give it a second. And all right, sorry, I accidentally click on the next slide. Yeah, I think I clicked, only one slide has passed, right, Becky?
oh, I'm not
I'm
sure.
sure it has.
Robert, if you use the arrows on your keyboard, you should be able to go back.
No, I think it was just a poll. So I think we're stuck at like 60%. So we could just go ahead and end the poll. And yeah, 28% said yes. All right. All right. So this brings us to this slide. And the reason I brought up this slide, because when I stepped in, and sorry about my puppy, when I stepped into the navigator position, when I walked into the AJC, I was isolated. And I feel like a lot of frontline staff, when they first become part of the American Job Center and community network, that's where they are. They don't know anything. It's not because they don't want to, it's just they're new. And then they begin to communicate and introduce themselves to other partners and let them know and meet. And then they start coordinating like, hey, I have a participant that might need GED, or this individual has a background, and they start coordinating on how they could better service that individual. And then they begin collaborating as we are at the American Job Center, and we start working on projects and really streamlining co-enrollment and communication. And I truly believe, I mean, I've had the honor to, sit at like, I think I passed 50 American Job Center meetings now that I've been in. And I could comfortably say that I feel like we're at the beginning stages of integration, and we'll be, really integrated moving forward, because just the dedication and passion that I see every day is awesome. So Becky, did you want to add anything to this?
Robert, there were some people that commented in the chat in reference to your asking additional questions about this cross-training sessions. Someone said that one-stop operator meetings give the partners a focal point for their work together. Another said that the consortium all shared in the training. And another said, we have monthly AJC committee meetings and quarterly interagency group meetings to discuss services, resources, and cross trainings to our local area providers. And in WIOA 2, they had a one-day staff training with all core partners, required partners, and that was held via WebEx and recorded for future reference by the One Stop Operator Consortium. And all partners were included in a one-day cross-training session. It was a great opportunity to network and continue to build partnerships, relationships, to continue to provide integrated quality service delivery. So they were commenting to your questions that went with your poll. So
that's great. So I'll be here the whole WIOA summit. So yeah, just reach out to me. Becky, did you want to add anything?
No, I just think, these comments really resonate. I think, that yes, the monthly partner meetings are so critical as just that, regular touch point. And we're excited to build off of that.
Okay. All right. So this is great. So this is our last poll. At what level of collaboration do you believe your one-stop center is operating, or yourself?
It's an anonymous poll.
It's an anonymous poll, yes. Isolation, communication, coordination, integration, or I don't know. And, when I was the career navigator, and, even, when I was a career navigator, I felt like I was in different stages with different partners. So I encourage you to be engaged and look in the best interest of your participant. So that said, I think we are again stuck at like 56 or 60%. Yeah, collaboration. Oh, great. Communication, coordination. We have a couple people in integration. That is awesome.
Oh,
so
that's good.
All right. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing. And all right. Yay. See, I timed it perfectly. It's 10:07. So now if you have any questions or any comments or any feedback, please, let us know. One thing that I forgot to mention, about, you guys recording your cross trainings, the One Stop Operator team actually began archiving the minutes of each American Job Center monthly meeting on Zendesk. So if you were to click on the newsletter, it'll say right there where you could go ahead and access all the minutes. They're broken down by each AJC and each month. And then there you could identify who was present, what their update was, and valuable resources. So that's distributed, was distributed after every meeting, but now they're just archived, and you don't need to log in or anything. We did that for frontline staff and any new staff that is onboarding as a kind of like a quick, this is what you're a part of, the American Job Center Network. So, all right, Bevan, any questions?
There are no additional ones just yet. If you give people a minute, maybe they take them a minute, maybe to post something. So anyway, I'll keep looking, Robert. Okay,
yeah, or let them know if they want to have a comment or something to say, to just raise their hand. I believe they could do that. Well, while you're thinking of your questions, if you want to go ahead and contact us, or please follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or visit us at ChicagoCitywide I guess we did a great job in explaining, Becky.
Yes, thank you so much, Robert and Becky. Just a quick plug as we're giving everyone a couple more minutes just to think of any questions they might have. We do have a short break this afternoon, and Bevan has gone ahead and put in the chat that link again for you to join us. We have a short break after this session from 2:30 to 3. And then we will have our closing session from 3 to 4:30. We will be joined by panelists Jennifer Foster from the Illinois Community College Board, Julio Rodriguez from DCEO, Carrie Thomas from IDES, and Ronnie Patrick from DHS. So that will be our panel for the closing session. And so we hope you join us for that. And then we will be closing out the first day of the summit, which is crazy. Today has gone by so quickly, but we thank everyone for your participation and your time this afternoon. I don't see any questions. Do you, Bevan?
No, I don't see any more. Thank you. Just a lot of thank you for your time, and thanks for the presentations and all that. So anyway,
Thank you
all.
Thank you for having us, and thanks everyone for your time. We look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, please connect with your local American Job Center and begin collaborating if you have not so yet.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Becky. And Robert will give everyone, almost a little over 15 minutes back to their day. And then we will see you all back at 3 o'clock for the closing session. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.